So people have this fantasy that growth is going to happen in a straight line. There's this famous diagram where, people imagine growth is going to be just like a straight up line like that, but in reality it's like super squiggly. But it's not just that it's squiggly and messy, which I think we all understand. It's that it's not linear, right? Growth tends to happen very quickly or very slowly. There isn't much of an in between. This idea of, yeah, steady 7 to 15 to whatever percent growth per year, that's not how it usually plays out, right? Because you're trying to build your business and there is something constraining your growth. There's something holding you back. And eventually you figure out what it is, and usually you take off like a rocket, right? Growth just accelerates dramatically until you hit a new bottleneck. And then when you hit that new bottleneck, you kind of stall out again until you figure out that thing. Now, those thresholds can be, there are a lot of different things that can cause the thresholds, right? When you're growing an organization, there's a truism that I've heard, I don't know who shared this with me first, but I've heard it in a lot of places, that everything tends to break at multiples of 3 and 10. And it's referring to headcount, right? So when it's just you or you bring on an assistant, like everything kind of works. When you've got like 3 people, okay, all of a sudden the dynamic is different and you figure out a way of working. And that kind of works until you get to be about 10 people, and then everything breaks. All the systems need to be re-engineered, and then again at 30, and then again at 100, and so on and so forth. So that's one kind of criteria. Another is when you kind of tap out the reach or the yield of a particular strategy. But, growing and continuing to grow is always an exercise in figuring out what's next, right? So I've gotten all the juice I can out of what I'm doing. And, if you haven't, then you'd still be growing, and that would be great. But once you've kind of plateaued, the key to not being stuck at that plateau for a long time is kind of figuring out, well, what's next?